All right, so this is, notice that, I hope you know, well, actually, the more questions a particular section has, this one, the standard is, ratios and proportion is called, um, there's a number associated for this. This is standard 7.rp, ratios and proportions 2a. Notice that there's a lot of questions, right? Which means that it shows up a lot on the state test. Okay, so statistics doesn't show up too much, although last year there were quite a few questions with statistics. Okay, but the bulk of it will be number sense, right? Equations and expressions, and ratios and proportions. Statistics, probability is not much, but again, last year, surprisingly, we had a lot of what do you call statistics and probability. So, without further ado, let's get this done. Jocelyn was shopping, blah, blah, blah. She observed the price of cucumbers, which shows a proportional relationship. Well, let's see if we can eliminate. So 5 cucumbers for 250, which means that if we write this as a, like that, and we write 5 cucumbers, that means that every cucumber, one cucumber was 50 cents, right? So I should get that unit rate for every single one of them. And notice that already for letter A, it says that 4 cucumbers, so $4. I bought 10 cucumbers, which means it's 40 cents per one cucumber. So this is already not proportional, so that's gone. B, again, we already know the unit rate is 50 cents for one cucumber. And then the rest should be the same. So again, if you do the second one, $4.50 for 10 cucumbers, that means it's 45 cents per cucumber. The unit rate is already different, so this is not proportional. They all should be. So here we have $2. So $2 for 5 cucumbers, which means one cucumber. So each cucumber, one cucumber. If you find the unit rate, and if you divide 2 by 5, you should get 40 cents. And letter B, the second one, $4 for 10 cucumbers, that's also 40 cents. And let's divide 6 by 15. 6 divided by 15 is 40 cents. And last one, 8 divided by 20 cucumbers is also 40 cents. So this one, the unit rate for each of these one is 40 cents for one cucumber. This is our answer. So the answer is C. Okay. The last one here, 150 divided by 5, so that's 30 cents per cucumber for one cucumber, which the second one is also 30 cents per cucumber. But if you look at this third one, 6 divided by 15, it's 40 cents. So this is not proportional, so the only one that's proportional is C. So that one is C. Okay, so a lot of these questions you've seen on an actual test, on our test. So we have, if it's proportional, right, we're going to have a straight line. So let me draw a straight line. If it's proportional, it goes through the y, through 0, 0, the origin, and it's proportional. So they're telling you that you have a point here, right, and this is line's proportional. So this point here is 18, 12, and they already you know that. So which of the other points, right, if it's proportional, would be on the line? So is it 6, 0? So 6, 0, 6 and 0. 6, 0 would be 6 over here. That's the 0.60. So that's not it. 2 and 3, 2. And does that look like 3 here? 2 and 3. That also doesn't look like it. 1.5 and 0. 1.5 and 0 would be here. That's not it. So which of these points on the line? Well, 7.5 about here, and visually and going all the way here. So that's the only one that's on the line. So D is the one that makes proportional. Another way of doing this, okay, is finding the. So if you look at finding the constant proportionality. So if you look at 18 and 12, so this is x and y. If you do y over x, right? So remember, constant proportionality is represented by the letter k, and you do y over x. And if you divide y over x, you get 12 over 18, or 2/3. So which of these will also get 2/3 if you write it in this manner? So here, 6 and 0, you get 0 over 6. The constant proportionality here, that's not going to give you 2/3. 3 over 2, this would actually give you 3 over 2, which is not it. This would also not give it to you. 0 divided by 1.5, that's not it. And then this y, remember, 5 divided by 7.5. If you put that in your calculator, no, just 5 divided by 7.5, and you simplify, oops, 5 divided by 7.5, and you press enter, you get 0.66666, which is the same thing as 2/3. So the only one is B. Okay, so I think the visual part would be easier. So the answer is D. 3. Which one is a proportional relationship? If it's a proportional relationship, one thing you already know is that if it's a graph, it goes through 0, 0. So this one is not it. This one is not it. So it's between this. Well, constant proportionality, right? How does x become y? It's times 4, and this one is times 6, and this one is times whatever. So this is definitely not, because all these numbers are different. And over here is this, right? So if you want to find the constant proportionality, you divide y over x, which you get 3 over 2. You do the same thing over here for the second point, 6 and 4. So if you did 6 and 4, it's also 3 over 2. If you did 12 over 8, do you get 3 over 2? Yes, you do. And if you do 18 over 12, do you get 3 over 2? Yes, you get 3 over 2. So the only one that's proportional is D. 4, this was for 2018, they are asking you if this is proportional again. Which statement describes the proportional between M of the car in miles and K. So again, right? So if this is, if you do X of X and Y, and where you find out that multiplier here, right? How do I get from X to Y? How do I get from 26 to 41 and 11 to 7? If it's the same, if it's the same, it's proportional. So let's find out what it is. So let's do Y over X. And y over x is 17.699 divided by 11, and that gives us 1.609. For the second one, for the second point, let's do 41.834 divided by 26. Let's see if we get actually 609. 41.834 divided by 26. Look at that, you get 1.609 again. And then the last one, just to confirm, 54.706 divided by 34. It's also, so if you do the last one, 54.706 divided by 34 equals 1.609. So it is a proportional relationship, right? To get to x to y, you multiply it by 1.609, 1.609, 1.609. So the relationship is proportional because the ratio of m to k is constant. That's correct. The relationship is not proportional, so that's garbage. D is also says it's not proportional, so you can clear it out. And then let's just confirm, see, the relationship is proportional because the difference, no, it's not difference, it's the ratio. The word is ratio. So C, although it says it's proportional, it's incorrect in its justification. 5, again, which table is proportional? So here we get 4 over 3. Here we get 10 over 6, which is 5 over 3. Then we get, okay, so this one you already, when you divide y by x, the first one you get 4 over 3. The second one you get 5 over 3. So this one is already gone. This one, well, 6 divided by 12 is a half. 12 divided by 14, is that a half as well? No, it's not, so this one is gone. Okay, 4, so again, look at this. How do I get from 4 to 2? You multiply it by, or you multiply it by half, right? Times a half. This one is times a half. And then is 12 divided by, sorry, 12 times a half 8? No, this is not. But again, you can do 4 over 2, you can do 8 over 4, you can do 8 over 12, and 14 over 16. They all simplify to the same number. Well, 4 over 2 is 2. Sorry, sorry, that should have been 2 over 4. It's y over x, so 2 over 4, that gives you a half. 4 over 8 gives you a half, so far so good. But when you get to 8 over 12, it does not give you a half. It's not a half, so this is not proportional. So this one, if you do, again, remember, constant proportionality is y over x. So if you do the first one, you get 1 over 5. If you do the second one, you get 2/10, which simplifies to 1/5, so good. Third one is 3 over 15, which simplifies to 1 over 5. The fourth one is 4 over 20, which simplifies to 1 over 5. So notice that the constant proportionality is the same, right? So to get from 5 to 1, it's times 1/5, times 1/5, times 1/5, times 1/5, times 1/5. So D is the correct answer. We did this on a test, right? This is a question on your test. So which one is proportional? Well, A is not proportional. We already know that. Not proportional. Because it doesn't go through the origin, right? So that's what you would write. Doesn't go through the origin. Doesn't go through the origin. 0, 0. B is proportional. Is proportional. Okay, so that's what you would write in your explanation, because it does go through the origin, because it goes through the origin, Sorry about my handwriting. Origin. And it's a straight line, and it's a straight line. And they're asking you also to identify the unit rate. Well, the unit rate is here, right? The unit rate is something, it's over 1. So this would be the unit rate. So how do we figure out what that number is? Because I can't tell from the graph. Well, pick a point. And the one point that we know for sure is this point right here. That point right here is 600 gallons of water in 2 minutes. Can we find the unit rate? Well, yeah. The unit rate, well, divided by 2, so you get 300 gallons in 1 minute. And that's your unit rate, which is this point right here. Okay, and that would have gotten you full credit. So, next one. Okay, last week's Len spent $18 for 4 games. All right, let's find the unit rate right away. So one game cost him $4.5, $4.50 per game. This week he spent $27 to both 6 games. Is that the same? Well, find the unit rate. 27 divided by 6. Look at that. It's also 450. So, what's the constant proportionality? Oh, if each of these bowling games cost the same amount, what's the constant proportionality? The constant proportionality is 4.5 right there. What is this? What is the constant proportionality on the graph? Well, first thing you have to do is find the point that you can identify. The only point, let's see, that's exactly on the intersection, right, of this line would be this point right here. I think it's right on that line. Right, is there another point? Let's see. No. So let's identify this point right here. That point there is 0.3 yards in 0.7 yards of, this is blue over orange, right? X over y, so y over x, right? So we put y over x. So the point here, let me write the point again, is 0.6 comma 0.3. So when we put it, when we find the constant proportionality, we do y over x. So 0.3 goes on top, and 0.7, sorry, goes at the bottom, which is what I did over here. Now that looks like this one. which can we simplify by multiplying top and bottom by 10, we get 3 over 7. So if I multiply that by 10 and multiply that by 10, I get rid of the decimals and I get 3 over 7. Okay. What is the width of, okay, so again, this was a, we can set, right, similar figures, I forgot the name. So 5.4, the ratio of 5.4, and let's call this x, to x is the same as the ratio of 2.6 over 6.21, right? So the ratio, if they're similar, right, they are proportional. So I would cross multiply here. 2.6x. If I multiply 5.4 times 6.21, I would get 33.534, and then I divide that by 2.6, divide that by 2.6, x equals 12.90. Okay. Let's make sure here. Sorry, 5.4 is to x, that's 2.6. Yeah, same thing. Okay, so the answer is 12.90. Is that a multiple choice question? Ooh, sorry. What is the width? Oh, I did this wrong. No. Yeah, I did it. Hang on a second. 5.4, the ratio of this to this is the same as the, oh, this is x. I apologize. So that's what's wrong. And that's the ratio of this to that. So the ratio of 5.4, so this is similar to this, right? That's sorry, I set up the proportion correctly. So the ratio of 5.4 to and 6.21 is the same as the ratio of 2.6, obviously, with its corresponding side, which is x. Ugh. So cross multiply, I get 5.4x, and then 6.21 times 2.6 equals 16.146. Divide both sides by 5.4, and I get 2.99 there. What the heck did I just do there? Sorry. So the table below shows a proportional relationship between x and y, so we already know it's proportional. What's the constant proportionality? Well, constant proportionality, k equals y over x. So pick any of this. Pick either this, 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 or this. Doesn't matter which one you pick. So let's pick the last one just for, okay, so 10.125 divided by 6.75, and we get the constant proportionality. 6.75 equals 1.5. There. Right, so if you did the same thing with each of the other ones, you would also get 1.5. 6. The equation y equals 4.3x can be determined to find the total cost involved. So this represents the total, and the x represents the number of pounds. So what is the number? So this obviously represents the price, right? So what does the number represent in the equation? The number of apples in 1 pound, the number of apples in x pounds, the cost of pounds of 1 apple, the cost of x pounds of apples, and that's the one that we want. It's the price of whatever pounds that you buy of apples. Okay. 6. All right, not too big of a fan of this question, but this is a 6th grade question. So the first one says you paid $1.28 for 8 ounces. And brand B, you paid $1.68 for 12 ounces. I have no idea why this question is here. What's the unit rate and what's the cost? Blah, blah, blah. Find the unit rate. So 1 ounce, find how much 1 ounce costs here. Find how much 1 ounce costs here. So divide 1.28 divided by 8. So 1 ounce over here costs you 16 cents. And over here, 1.68 divided by 12, you get 14 cents per ounce. That's not the final answer though, because they want the difference in price per ounce. So it'd be 16 cents minus 14 cents. So the price, the difference between the prices in ounce is 2 cents. All right, so it's 0.02 per fluid ounce. Guys, I know we're just practicing here, but when it says your work or show your work, be as neat as possible. And I'll mention this again in class, right? Because somebody who you've never met is grading this, right? And they need to understand what you're doing. The table below shows different prices, price of different number of cards on the website. So 20 cards, you pay $13. 40 cards, you pay $26, and you notice that, right? It's proportional. For each order, the website applies 7.7 sales tax to the price of card, plus a one-time mailing fee of $5.95. Based on the information table, what's the cost for an order of 280 cards? Well, let's figure out what 280 is going to cost. So it's $13 for 20 cards. Let's find the unit rate. So the unit rate for one card, so how much is one card? Well, if you divide 13 divided by 20, 65 cents per card. So if you buy 280, multiply that by 0.65, and you get $182. So you're going to pay $182 for 280 cards, plus, so times, so you got to pay tax, and then, so let me write that. So that's the card, this is the tax, and then the mailing fee. There's 3 things you have to add. So the mailing fee, so that's easy. So that's $5.95. All right, so let's find out what the tax is. Well, the tax is 182 times, what's the tax? 0.077. So let's find out what the tax is. 1 times 0.077. And the tax ends up being $14.01. So the tax is $14.01. Add them up, and you get 6, a 9, a 11, a 10. So total is $201.96. Okay. Mass and volume of several pieces of metal. There's a proportional relationship. Okay, so if you know it's a proportional, how do we know this number? Whatever you times this to get that is the same. Right, so it's going to be the same number over and over again. We got to figure out what the number is. So something that has, determine the mass in grams of a piece of metal that has a volume. So if something measures 15.3, they're asking us, what is that number here? Okay, round your answer to the nearest tenth of a gram. So we can simply use a proportion. So 34.932, right? Sorry, let me do this. Let's call this Y, let's call this X. We can call that 4.1 over 34.932 is going to be, the ratio of that is going to be the same as the ratio of 15.3, and that's the number we're missing. Cross multiply, we get 4.1x. Multiply the other two numbers, 34.932 times 15.3 equals 534.4596. We divide by 4.1 on both sides, and x equals 4.1 by the way. Divide by 4.1, and we get this ugly number. X equals 130.356, and round your answer to the nearest tenth. So x equals 130.4. So if you didn't put 130.4 and you left it at this, guys, you would have lost the point. So write down, make sure you read the instructions here. Okay. graph below shows the relationship. Okay, it's proportional, of course. We can see it. Is it proportional? Yes, it is. Again, you can write straight line that goes through the origin. Okay, it's proportional because it's a straight line that goes through the origin. Yeah, that's it. But that's simple. That would have gotten you full points. Okay, determine the determine the number of miles the probe travels in 5.5 hours. Well, let's find a point. So we know that the distance is 24,000 in 2 hours. And the question is, in 5.5 hours, what's the distance? All right, so again, you can cross multiply. Right, you can cross multiply. You get 2x. And if you multiply 24,000 times 5.5, oops, 24,000 times 5.5 gives you 132,000. If you divide by 2, x equals 66. Right, so in 5.5 hours, which is 5 right over here, does that sort of look like 66? Does that, sorry, it looks like 66,000? I think it does. Okay. All right, so far, pretty standard. Company works, okay, 2022. 175 pages in 5 minutes. Show your work. So I'm going to start with that. The number of pages printed is proportional to time in minutes. What is the unit rate? Well, basically they're asking us in 1 minute what's the total number of pages. Well, divide by 5, divide by 5. Could have done that. 175 divided by 5 and gives you 35. So the unit rate is 35 pages in 1 minute. If you wanted to, by the way, let me write this. 5 minutes again, and you roll x over 1 minute, right? X pages in 1 minute, and you cross multiply, you get the same answer. Okay, so here's your unit rate. Constant proportionality, they give you the formula. Again, k equals y over x. The cost of oranges in stores is directly proportional to the number of oranges purchased. Okay, so the cost, yeah. So he paid $2.52 for 6 oranges. Write an equation. If P represents the cost in dollars and M represents the number of oranges, which equation best represents this relationship? So P is a total. So we want P equals something N. And that's what we're looking for, right? Because that is your unit rate. So divide. Find out how much 1 orange is. Divide by 6, divide by 6, 2.52 divided by 6 equals 0.42. Right, so P represents the cost, that represents the price, the 0.42, and N represents the number of oranges. Banana costs 45 cents per pound. What's the equation? C, give me a break, the total cost of P pounds of bananas. Well, that's the total cost. This is the number of pounds, and that's your cost per pound. So the only one that looks correct is that one. So this one has plus 0.45. This one has, I don't know what the heck that is. It has P equals, no, it's C. We want to find C, the cost. What's the cost? The cost is the price times the pound. So that's not incorrectly. This one, I don't even know what that is. The perimeter of the rhombus P is proportional to the length side. So the perimeter, okay, which equation represents this relationship? So if this is S, that's S, this is S, and this S, so it's 4, the perimeter is always going to be 4 times whatever the side is. So there's your equation. Right, P equals, and this one says the side equals 4 times the perimeter, so that doesn't even make sense. So this right off the bat, B and D should have been garbage. So the only thing you would have to worry about is it. C, P equals 4 plus S. That makes no sense because the perimeter is going to be 4 times whatever the sides are. All right. Company ordered 10 box lunches from a deli for $74.50. The box lunch costs the same amount. Which equation represents a proportional relationship? All right, so let's start with this. $74.50 for what? For 10 lunches. Right, so if you find the unit rate, we can get that one lunch is $7.45. Right, if you want to write an equation, remember the equation becomes in this, right? If it's proportional, that's your equation. Y represents the total. X represents the number of lunch boxes that you're going to order. And X represents the price. So Y equals, what's the price? $7.45 times X, the number of boxes. So is there anything that looks like this? Yes, no, yes, right here. Y equals 7.45X. There's a relationship, it's proportional. So again, how does X become T? Right, look for that number. How does that become T? Well, it's not multiplied by 7, but rather multiplied by 1 over 7. So if you take 21 and multiply it by 1 over 7, do you get 3? Yes, you do. If you get 35 and you multiply it by 1 over 7, you get 3? Yes, you do. So it's 1 over 7. Right, so T well, in this case, it says what is S equal to? S is always going to be 7 times the value of T, right? I saw this wrong in the beginning. I was actually thinking, that they were going to write T equals something times S. What is T? T is 1/7 of S. If you did it in the other way around, what is S? S is 7 times T, right? So if T is 5, multiply that by 7, you get S. If T is 7, multiply that by 7, you get S. So in this case, S is 7 times the value of T. So the answer is B, which is so weird. I hate when they do these questions like that. Right, and the reason, and I'll explain, because usually, think about it. We have this, right? The whole year we talk about X and Y, 35 and 5, 49 and 7, 63 and 9, 70 and 10, right? The whole year you and I in class, we talk about this, and I ask you, what's the constant proportionality? So we do 3 over 21, or 5 over 35, or 7 over 49, right? The constant proportionality, how do we get from here to here? It's 1 over 7 times 1 over 7 times 1 over 7. And then during the state test, whoever made this question now, they're going this way. Right? Because Y is a dependent value, right? Y is a dependent, X is in the independent value. So we talk about that. What's the reason to do it the other way? I know, I know. It's a reading comprehension. It makes no sense to me, right? Anyways, the answer is B, right? S, to find S, is you have to multiply T by 7. 6, 10 ounces of blueberry, okay, $2.70 for 10 ounces. And you want to find out what 30 ounces is. Well, set up your proportion for 30 ounces, and this would be for X. right? So there's not anything that looks like this. And again, stop. I'll just. Do we have anything? What the heck? That? No, this is okay. That over that. 2 over 7, and it should be x. No, so this is a no. 2 over 7 over 10, check. 30 over x, no, should be x over 30, so that's a no. 10 over 2.7, so, and then 30, no, this is a no. And then, what the heck is this? 2.7. What? Am I seeing something wrong here? 2.7, the ratio of 2.7 to 10, right? So this one should be x over, no, that's not it. 2.7 over 10, and B is not it either. C, 2.7 over 10, and x over 30. So this one, it's this one, but upside down, I guess, if you want to think about it that way. Right? I mean, again, we talk about ounces here. So, because this, honestly, is, again, you're dependent. And this one is you're independent. And think about all the kids in all the schools, middle schools right now, who are all pretty much working in this format, right? We always sort of work in this format. Now, can we work in the other way too? Yes, but we always write it, in this way. 270 for 10 ounces. And then, and we set a proportion, which I did here. And then your multiple choice answer comes like this. For what reason? Don't ask because I don't have the answer, but that C is the correct answer. So this is exactly like this, but written with the ounces on top instead of the money. I don't know why. All right, so let's see. Watermelons. We know the watermelons is $4.38 for 7.3 pounds. They want an equation, so if it's obviously it's proportional, so your equation is going to be in this format: y equals x at k times x. So let's find the constant proportionality, or the unit rate. So 1 pound of watermelon is 4.38 divided by 7 is, what the heck? 4.38 divided by 7.3, sorry, 7.3. So it's 60 cents per pound. When you write the equation, the total cost, which is y, right, the total is, x represents the pounds, right, and how much is it per pound? 0.60. Okay, so you can explain all that process, because that's your final answer, right? If it's proportional, the equation will always be in this format. Okay, and you can add that to your information. A graph is proportional. There's a straight line through the origin. Okay. The relationship between the length of one side of a square x and the perimeter y can be presented in an xy plane by a straight line. Which of the points is coordinates xy line on the plane? So think about this for a second. So x represents the side, and y represents the perimeter. So if it's a square and your side is 1, what's the perimeter? 4. If your side is 2, what's the perimeter? 8, right? Because it's 2 plus 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, or times 4. The side is 3 times 4, the perimeter is 12. The side is 4 times 4, the perimeter is 16, etc., etc. So 5 would be 15. So 5 would be times 4, 20. 6 would be 24. You see the relationship: times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So which of these points could represent, right, a square with a side and the corresponding, what do you call, perimeter? So if it's 2, the side of the square is 2, the perimeter should be 8. So this is garbage. If it's, well, here we go. If the perimeter is 2, sorry, if the side is 2, the perimeter should be 8. So this works out. This one doesn't make sense. If the side is 6, is the perimeter 2? Garbage. If the side is 8, is the perimeter 2? Garbage. So the only one is that one. Alright, so the graph below shows the relationship between the number of people in the group and the total cost of admission for circus. Which point of the graph represents the unit rate? Well, the unit rate is always this guy right here, right? X equals 1, right? That's the unit rate. So when x, so you have xy, so it's 1 and something. And what is that something in this case? 15. There's your unit rate, this point right here. Alright, this is not that bad. Okay, groceries, sliced turkey, total cost, 2 points, R and W. Which statement about the graph is true? Point R means the unit rate. Well, let's find the unit. First of all, the unit rate is this guy right here. Right? So is point R is the unit rate? No, don't even bother reading. Point R means the unit rate's $4 per 4 pounds per dollar. No, remember this is the x-axis and this is the y, right? So it should be per pound, right? It's going to be per pound. So this is what the unit rate is going to look like, something over per pound. So this one says 4 pounds per dollar. No, it's per pound. W means the unit rate's $2.50 per pound. Well, yeah, well, look, that's what that says here. $2.50 for 1 pound. C is the correct one. All right, another proportional, the time traveled, and the total distance, okay? Which statement best describes the meaning of the coordinates of f? Well, f, obviously, again, point is 1, 5.25, which means x, the hours, and y, the miles. So this guy traveled 5.25 miles in 1 hour. That's what that says. It shows the unit rate of the graph in hours per mile, not hours per mile. No, it shows the unit rate of the graph in miles per hour. There we go. Winner. Don't even bother reading the rest. It shows the time in hours it takes the boat to travel 1 mile. What the heck? It shows the distance traveled in miles by the towboat after 5.25 hours. Please. So it's B. And that it? Okay. Ooh, I remember this question from years ago, 2017. All right. So there's a flyer for Harlem Hardware. Okay. And Girl and Floor advert the same type of carpet at 10% less per square foot than Harlem Hardware. Determine the cost of 700 square feet of the carpet if it is bought from Girl and Floors. Okay, so if you go to this store, let me write the other store. Girl and Floors. Right? And you want to buy 700 square feet. How much would it cost? So the area, square feet, and you want to find the total amount. That's what the question is. So same type of 10% less per square foot. So let's find. So what if well, first of all, it's proportional. So let's take any of these. Doesn't matter which one. Okay. Let's take this one. That says for $750, you can buy 500 square feet of carpet. Now, let's find out what 1 square foot is. 1 square foot. So, all you gotta do is divide 750 divided by 500. Oops. By 500. And you get that they're charging $1.50 per square foot, right? Divide this by 500. Divide that by 500. So each square foot is $1.50. Now, the other store, okay, so now that we have what Harlem is, the other store is 10% less. Well, what's 10% less? Well, 10% less means that it would be, let me write it so it's $1.50. It's at the Harlem Heart, so it's $1.50 for 1 square foot. What's 10% less than that? Well, you can do it two ways. You can find out and multiply it by 0.90, right? So because if you take 10%, you're left with 0.90 and multiply that by 150. So you can do 0.90 times 150. Right? So if you multiply 0.9 times 150, it means that in this other store, every foot is $1.35 for 1 square foot. All right. So you can do it that way, or you could have said, I don't know what 10% is. So if I have, what's 10% of 150? 10% 150, you would do 0.10 times 150, and you get 0.15, right? So this is the amount that you would have to subtract for 150. And if you did 150 minus 0.15, guess what you get? The same thing, 135. So 135 is the price that is charged at, what do you call, at the going for. So it says here that 1 square foot is $1.35. So now you're in charge to find out how much 700 square foot is. So how do I get from here to here? Multiply that by 135. So if you have 700, if you multiply that by 135, 700 square feet times 1.35, it means that you would pay $945. So at Golan Floors, so at Golan Floors, sorry guys, my pen, it would be this value here. Okay, and that's day whatever this was. Okay, I'll post it soon.